Hey guys, welcome back to another online lesson. Today we're going to talk about trapezoids. Specifically, we're going to try to find the area. In order to find the area of a trapezoid, we do need certain information. So, we're going to label the bases and the height. This is what I'm going to call a first base. So I'm going to call it B1. That's the first base. The second base is down here, B2. Next we have to label the height. Now remember, just like with triangles, the height has to go straight from the bottom to the top. So these here, the sides, they don't count as the height. The height would go here. And you could label the height anywhere through here, just to make sure that it is a straight line going directly from the top to the bottom. Next, in order to find the area, we have to get a formula. So, let me show you that formula now. The formula we're going to use is this, and make sure you have this down exactly. Formula. Area equals 1/2 of the height, 1/2 times height, and in parentheses, B1 plus B2. Okay, I know it seems complicated, but if you think about it, it's pretty self-explanatory. We're just going to do 1/2 times the height. Now remember, the height is that. B1 is right there. To that, we're going to add B2. And B2 is right there. Notice how with the trapezoids, there are only two parallel. These two would be intersecting if they continued. So, just to summarize, 1/2 times the height times base 1 plus base 2. Let me show you an example. Okay, here's another trapezoid. I know it's a trapezoid because I see only one pair of parallel lines. Those would not be parallel because they would intersect. So, and let me just draw the dotted line to show that that 10 inches is actually the height. So please, on your note page, make sure to put that dotted line in there. So using our formula of area equals 1/2 of the height times B1 plus B2. Okay, once you have the formula, then what you're doing is you're just plugging numbers in. So, area equals 1/2, we're going to stick with that, times the height. In this case, the height is 10. 1/2 times 10. And then in parentheses is going to be B1 plus B2. 12 plus B2 is 20. Perfect. Now, if you remember our order of operations, what do we do first? Parentheses. So, look at our parentheses. 12 plus 20, that's going to be 32 times 10 times 1/2 is what the area equals. Notice what I did there. I just did what's in the parentheses, brought it down, and the rest I just brought right down. Now, it's all multiplication from here on out, so let's do it in order from left to right. 1/2 times 10, so area equals 1/2 times 10. Basically that's saying what is 1/2 of 10? We know that's 5. 5 times, we just have 32. And notice I could get rid of those parentheses because I've already solved what's in the parentheses. 5 times 32, I can't do it in my head, so I'm just going to do it off to the side here. 32 times 5. 5 times 2 is 10, 0 carry the 1. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 1 is 16. So the area equals 160. I look, what's my unit? My unit's inches, 160 inches squared. Perfect. Let's try another one. This is another trapezoid. And let me erase my work here. Again, I can tell right away it's a trapezoid because there's only one pair of parallel lines, and typically they're the bases on the top and the bottom, and these lines would intersect. So, I see this point 3. Put a little dotted line in your notes just to show that that's the height, because remember, the height has to be straight up and down. These are not the height. So, using our formula, we're just going to plug the numbers back in. So, area equals 1/2 h. There it is. 1/2 times decimal point 3 in parentheses B1, 1, B2 is decimal point 5 plus decimal point 5. Okay, let's solve it. Do what's in parentheses first. So, area equals 1/2 times decimal point 3. What's in parentheses? 1 plus 0.5. Well, I know that's just times 1.5. Because 1 plus decimal point 5 is just 1.5. Here we go. Now let's do it in order from left to right. A equals 1/2 times decimal point 3. Let's start with that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say, because I know that 1/2 of something is really just divided by 2, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my decimal point 3 and I'm going to divide it by 2 because that's what 1/2 of something is. So let's do it. 2 decimal point 3, first thing I bring up the dot. Perfect. 2 goes into 3 one time. 1 times 2 is 2. Subtract. 3 minus 2 is 1. Let's annex a 0. Drop it. Perfect. So now 2 goes into 10 5 times. 5 times 2 is 10. Subtract. We are at 0. We are good to go. So now we know area equals 1/1500ths times 1.5. Multiplying decimals. We can do it. I'm going to erase my division work here just to give myself a little bit more space to work with. So now I have decimal point 1.5 times 1.5. Remember, with multiplying decimals, you do not need to line up the dots. You just set them up, multiply. We'll count the decimal places later. So let's do it. 5 times 5 is 25. 5, carry the 2. 5 times 1 is 5. Plus 2 is 7. Excellent. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 1 is 1. Drop down the 5. 5 plus 7 is 12. 2, we're going to carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So we are at 225. But I got to go back. We're multiplying decimals, remember? Let's count the decimal places. I have 1 decimal place here. I have 2 up here. So I'm going to move it 1, 2, 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3 spaces. Perfect. Now we have my area. And my area equals decimal point 225. My unit is feet. So it's going to be feet squared. Okay. I gave you one to try on your own. Let me erase my work so we can look at it. Okay. First thing I look at, since we're dealing with trapezoids, I have one pair of parallel lines. These two would go on to intersect, so I know it is a trapezoid. So we're just going to stick with our formula. This right here, 2.2 inches, that is going to be the height. So please draw a little line there to show you that that is the height. Now remember, just use the formula that I showed you. Plug the numbers in, calculate it out. We'll see you in class.